All right, a while back I told you guys I was going to put out a regen video that was specifically for the fire extinguishing system. I think it's better in this context where you have a bunch of enemies in front of you and you shoot them and then their health regenerates. So I'm going to show you how I did that and how you can do the same thing and how you can be able to do things like having them regenerate at different rates and at after different times. That is, having them wait a different amount of time before you start to regenerate them. So let's take a look at the code real quick. I'm going to turn off play mode and I'm just going to put my IDE in here, which is just Visual Studio 2019. All right. This is my player. I've made this extremely complicated. If I just took away all of this, I'm going to go ahead and comment this out so that it's easier to see and see like what's happening here. So I'm going to comment out everything in update except for the one little thing that we need to do, which is basically shoot at the enemy. All right, so in order to shoot, I'm just going to click on the left mouse button, which is get my mouse button down. 0 is the left mouse button. All right. I've got a component on my NPCs, which is a health component, and it derives from something called iDamageable. Let's go ahead and just do this simply. So if I click on the left mouse button and I fire a ray at at some object, and that object has a collider and it happens to have this iDamageable component on it. We don't need all that. All right. And it happens to have this iDamageable component on it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at what that's got. All right. So super simple interface here. iDamageable either returns, it's got two methods. One is to return whether or not the object is dead or not. And then take damage, which you pass in an amount that you want to damage it, and then it'll return true if on that call you killed it. All right, it'll still return false if you didn't kill it. Like, let's say for example it's already dead and you try to damage it, then it'll return false because it's already been killed. All right, so you could use that for like points and stuff, like adding points to your player. Anyway, I'm going to take that damageable component and I'm going to say take damage, and then I'm going to pass in some damage amount. So I've already got a field here that says damage. All right. So I'm just going to pass in the amount of damage that I'm doing. All right. And then we're going to go over to our health component. Let me just take a look at these guys. All right. So we've got our NPCs. If I click on the capsule itself, this is where my collider is. And this is where I've got this health component. This health component is a mono behavior, and it implements the iDamageable interface that we have here. All right. Now, in order to implement that interface, we must have the dead, both of those methods. All right, dead and take damage. So here we've got dead, and we've got take damage, and we have the exact signature that we have on the interfaces. All right. So to check if it's dead, all you're doing is seeing if it'll return true if its health is less than or equal to 0. All right, so that means it's dead. Okay. In order to do the regeneration, ideally, I mean, you pretty much have to have a max health and a current health. So it's your max health could in fact be like, let's say you only want it to regenerate to 75% or whatever. You could define a max like a constant value, or you could say like, okay, here's its max health, and then maybe I have a modifier where it's like, okay, max regenerated is like 75% equals 75%. Okay, so that's how you would do that. You just times max health times max regenerate, and if you're regenerating and you get your current health to max health times max regenerated health, then you would stop regenerating. Right. Anyway, keeping it simple, you need max health and current health, and then you're going to have a time between damage and regen. That is, so if I go into Unity here and I shoot one of these guys, I want to make sure that there is actually a delay between when he regenerates and when I give the damage. So if I put that back down at 0, let's see what guy I've got here. I've got the front guy. All right. So if I just put that to 0, then it's very annoying because you're damaging him and like fighting to get him dead. All right. So it's kind of not ideal. Okay. So I wouldn't do it like that. I would make sure that you have a time between when you've given the object damage and when it starts to regenerate. The easiest way that I've seen to do this is to give it, to use time.time. Let's go down to where we do damage. Anytime that he takes damage, he's going to change that start regen time to time plus time between time.time is what time it is in the game, like right now. Like if you call this, it's going to say however much, what time it is since we started or whatever. So what you want to do in order to check if it's time to regen again is say, okay, if let's say I shot the guy at 10 o'clock and there's a minute between when he regens, then I'd say, okay, at 10:01 is when he needs to start regenerating. All right, so in update, I'm checking, can he start regenerating? Is it 10:01 yet? And if that's true, then we start to regenerate health. Right, this needs regen is a Boolean field that's just there so that like if he hasn't taken damage recently, then there's no need for us to do the calculation of is the time right now greater than the time when he was supposed to start regenerating health. All right, I know that's a small calculation, but if you can just have a Boolean field or a bit or whatever, a flag that says, okay, there's no need for regen, let's just get out of here, as opposed to always, comparing two floats. I think it's a lot faster to just use the flag. All right, regen health, all we're doing is going in there and we're adding to his health, we're adding the regen rate. So the regen rate is just how much health he's going to regenerate in 1 second. Okay, so let's say I set that to 100. His max health is 100, but it's not like in instantaneously he's going to be back to max health. It'll take a full second for him to get back up to max health. So you're adding to current health by adding the regen rate times time.delta time, and that'll make it go up over the course of a second. If we pass that value, and we are going to pass that value, so if we get our current health over max health, then we're just going to make sure that it goes back to being max health, and then we're going to turn off that flag. We're going to say that, okay, now we don't need any more regen. Now don't worry, because if he takes damage again, we set that needs regen flag to true. Okay, so anytime that take damage is being called, we're checking that he's not already dead. We're removing some of that health, and we're calling this on take damage. I guess you could call it an event. Okay, so anytime that he takes damage, he's going to have that flag set to true. All right, and then we're also going to set the start regen time. Okay, so if it's 10 o'clock and we have a minute between when he's supposed to regen and stuff, then we're going to set the start regen time to 10:01. Okay, to check if he died on this call, we're saying, is his health now lower than 0? Then we die and we return true. Okay, so you say, okay, if I want to give my guy points every time he kills someone, then I just check, okay, if this call of take damage killed the guy, then I'm going to get some points for my guy. If not, either he's still alive or he's already dead. Right, so you can see he's already dead. If it enters this part, then he's still alive. Okay. On die, I don't want to set that. Once he's dead, I don't want to allow him to regenerate anymore. I could delete this script. So if I wanted to delete this script so that it's not calling update or whatever anymore, I'd just say destroy this, and I'd give it a little bit of time because I'm calling die here. So I don't want to destroy the script before it returns. All right. So I'll give it time to return to whoever's calling it. So for example, gun is calling, the gun is calling the take damage method, and I want it to return. Okay. So I'm making sure that I give it time to return to the caller. All right, and when he dies, I'm going to turn him black, and I'm going to give him some rigid body so I can like move him around a little bit. Now on change health, I want to visualize the damage that we're doing to the guy, so I've made these fill bars. So this is just a very simple. It's just a canvas. Let me see. So it's just a canvas. It's in world space. It's on the object's body. Let me see if we can see this guy. Let me press W. Yeah. Okay. So you can see that it's just above the guy. I've manually placed it above the guy at 2 meters and 0.5, and then the width of the canvas is 3 meters and is half a meter tall. So all that's in there is a stretched canvas. The health bar is 3 pixels by 1 pixel of PNG image, and that's set to sprite. So that's pretty, I mean, like the simplest thing you can get for a health bar. In order to do a health bar, you usually are going to use the filled image type, and then I like to have the origin from the left and the fill method as horizontal. Otherwise, you're going to see it do like that. So some people might like that. I prefer that for something like mana or whatever. For health, I prefer a vertical health bar. I am not sure exactly how they do it in Skyrim, but like for example in Skyrim they have it where it reduces on both sides. So I guess you'd have to like change the width every time that it takes damage, or every time that it heals. Anyway, my point is with this, we need to be able to use this on both damage and on regeneration. So super simple script. I have a health bar here. Let's go ahead and enter that. So it's the image, and then I'm using color changes. This is like totally unnecessary. Color changes is basically saying if it's less than half or less than 60% or whatever, it's going to turn orange or yellow, and gradually get closer to red as it's lowered. And then the fill is a number from 0 to 1. So if you look at colors here, you look at colors and you see that it's 255, but really that's if you normalize it, it'll go from 0 to 1. So this is 0, this is 0.5, this is 1 right here. So the fill that we're passing in is the amount of health. So it's, let's say his max is 100. So that's 255 in the color, and as we get down, it's going closer to black. All right. Hopefully that. I mean, that's a poor explanation, but I hope that, I mean, like this is the fill right here. So this is what happens with his health. Red goes up as he loses health. Pretty simple. So every time his health changes, we're calling this update fill. The most important part that you're going to see here is fill amount equals fill, right? Nothing crazy there. So on change health, you could do a bunch of different stuff. So for example, if you wanted him to yell out in pain, you could have his sound source on, or an audio source on here, and you could have a sound clip that he's yelling or whatever, and you could play that. I guess you'd want that on take damage. So yeah, I think this is. I think I've explained pretty much everything here. Regenerate health, we explained it. Yep, I think we're good. So so on change health, I call that on start because I like to, before the game starts, I like to have my guys have their fill bar less than 1, so that I know that like when the game starts, it's working properly. If I click on the game and then I click on the game and then it goes up to 1. I know that that they have this script on them and things are being called and stuff. Real quickly, I'm going to show you what else I had done with this script. You don't have to worry about copying any of this down. I'll just put it on GitHub. So I've got a gun here. I've got grenades. Just gonna throw a couple of grenades and then shoot these guys. All right, well, there they go. Actually, let's throw a grenade and just see them all. They all have a different regeneration rate. So let's just see that stuff in action. So you see some guys regenerate faster than others. This guy takes a very long time to start regeneration, but he regenerates extremely fast. So if we take a look at those values, this guy will be the guy in the back perhaps. Yeah, so you can see that as we adjust those values, regenerate makes it go up a lot faster. The time between damage makes it regenerate after less time. Okay, so hopefully you like the video. If you do not like the video, then tell me that too.